Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD. If you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. That could be on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or if you want a new way to subscribe to this podcast, I seem to have had the audacity this week to just wear nice clothes. And every day I've worn nice clothes, Luke has made fun of me.
I'm not sure that's true. I just thought the fans would like to know that much like this split screen, you're going to call things right down the middle today in your lovely little rereferee shirt that we've got on.
So I wear this new yellow shacket I got. I was really happy with it. I walk in. Freddie Mercury comments.
I didn't say it though. You were the one. I thought it. I didn't say it out loud.
I bought a new wallet. And I was really happy with it. Look, can I do this? Yeah, it doesn't show any card details. Look, it's really nice. Look, it's got a little space for a notebook, the tiniest notebook you've seen, a pen, cards.
Yeah, it is nice.
I showed it to you, and you went, oh, yeah, that's cool. I've recently realised wallets are bins for the pockets.
Yeah, a wallet is a bin you carry around with you. Much like a loft is a bin that you live under. A wallet is just a bin that you carry around.
Yeah, so this nice thing, Luke just called it a bin to my face immediately.
I didn't call it just what you bought a bin. I said the concept of wallets are a bin.
Ergo. My wallet is a bin.
It's a lovely bin. Some bins can be very nice.
And then I walk in this morning, first time I've seen Luke, and then you just shouted...
refereeing a match later. Because in my defense, when you were over there, because you were like the lights weren't on you then, it did look like you were in a black and white shirt.
I've just got a stripy top on. I've got a vertically stripy top on.
Yeah.
And it isn't even done up, so it's open, so it's not stripy all the way across.
Yeah.
And it's green.
Well, now, my joke doesn't land as well as it did when I first sent it to you, which you told me to F off.
Well, I thought it was outrageous that you said that. It's a new top. I was excited to show it to people. It's its debut wear.
Yeah. What does everyone say in the office?
No one said anything. But anyway, to wrap up this QR code, look, if I put it together, it's a pattern, scan it. I don't know. It might take you to a place where you can get some fashion sense, which is the WrestleTalk podcast. Yeah. Today, of course, we've got the Ass Index as usual.
Yep, we're going to be talking about AEW Dynamite and our predictions for AEW Dynasty this weekend.
Yeah, because did you forget that was this weekend?
I
keep forgetting.
Absolutely did.
I've got so much WrestleMania vision.
Week before WrestleMania, lads. Of course I'm going to forget this is happening.
How have we had 2 AEW shows between the last...
to a
WWE show. But we are going to be starting things off with WWE. Shock. Breaking news. Turns out, if you become a partner promotion of theirs, they might start to screw you over.
Yes. If you dance with the devil, you might get a little bit burned in the process. Because, like, TNA, they've got this partnership with WWE. Kind of started in 2024 when Jordan Grace was in the Royal Rumble as the TNA Knockouts champion. That kind of led to a lot of, like, there'll be TNA stars on WWE. No, it was TNA stars on NXT, and lower-level NXT names would then appear on TNA shows. And then they made an official announcement, I think, last year, 2025. In January, like, we're now official partners. And that, again, consisted of lower-level NXT stars appearing on TNA shows, or maybe some higher-up NXT stars, and TNA stars, their main event stars appearing on NXT. And it really did pay dividends for them, because Slammiversary and Bound for Glory, really big crowds that they drew last year, and they have now got their show on AMC. TNA Impact's probably its biggest and best TV deal since Spike in the mid-2000s. Really, really good. And a lot of that, and I would say almost 80 to 90% of it, can be attributed to the partnership with WWE.
Oh, almost definitely. We joke, and to be honest, stand by that WWE have consistently undermined top TNA stars. The Joe Hendry on WrestleMania spot.
No, but he got the rub. He's much a bigger star now. Is what everyone keeps telling me.
People being beaten on NXT. Team TNA during the, what was it called? It wasn't called Invasion.
Oh, what was it called?
What was it called?
What did they change it to?
I'm pretty sure it still had like the V.
It did.
So what was that? What has a V in?
What did they change it to? I'll have to Google it now.
Don't tell me. Just give me a clue.
Yeah, okay, I'll do this. TNA
I bet we'll get it
NXT.
right away with one tiny clue.
I'm just going to write Invasion because then it will auto-correct me. Oh, yes, I do remember. Right. So WWE have a show with a similar name at the moment.
Rov. Smackdov.
No, but maybe Smack. Maybe keep looking at that one.
Smack?
No, but
V down?
No.
Down V?
Don't think of the V. The V was just part of the logo, but it's not part of the word.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. And think smack.
Yeah, but well, I think what's the other bit?
Just bring it.
No.
Down.
Down.
Take down.
Nope.
Because it would be like take over.
Yeah. Nope, it's not take down.
Invasion down? Down.
Down. What does SmackDown begin with?
Smack.
No.
S.
Yes.
Slow down. That's how the kids need to work. They need to slow down.
You're so close now.
Oh my God. I must be letters away.
You are letters away. Literally,
S and
literally
down.
one letter away.
S and down. Showdown.
Showdown.
Oh.
There it is. Jurassic Park 3.
Schindler's List? Is it, what is this? God, where were we going there? Oh, yeah. But so the team there was mostly made up of NXT people anyway, representing TNA.
And then it ended in a score draw. And at the end of it, Ava and whoever it was, Santino and Morello were just like, well, that's that then.
Yeah.
See you next week.
And NXT and ergo WWE have taken most of TNA's top stars.
Yeah, they've taken Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry. Leon Slater is definitely being groomed to go over there, but that's not exclusive.
Mike Santana's going to go
100.
there when his contract ends.
Not exclusive to WWE. I think we've seen on this episode of AEW Dynamite that AEW are looking at Callum Newman to be like,
yes.
why don't you come across here? They did it with Will when he was in New Japan.
That's a fair comment, actually, and not one I'd considered before. The AEW New Japan relationship is very similar in ways to TNA and NXT.
Yeah.
TNA is effectively NXT's new feeder system. But they, like you said, they have had enormous positives. But I do believe, this is the playbook of enshittification. Enshittification starts because it started off good, and then it is enshittified. It didn't start off shit, otherwise no one would buy that service or be impressed with it up front. So yes, TNA have had short to medium term wins. They've got the AMC deal. They had these big buy rates for a couple of pay-per-views they've done. They're now called PLEs, actually. That was the first sign.
Yeah.
Where everyone was like, I think there's something more concrete between WWE and TNA. They've just announced Hard to Kill or something as a PLE.
Yeah, so I've got to start using our verbiage now.
And we were like, don't read too much into it. It's just TNA trying to copy WWE. But then a couple of weeks later, the formal partnership was announced.
I would say as well, in TNA's defense in that way, they've always just copied WWE. Even back in the old days, they used to call it sports entertainments because they were just copying what WWE did.
It's the most TNA thing. Well, there's many TNA things, but to be an alternative that tries to copy the lead person, company so hard.
While still saying you're an alternative.
We got 6 sites.
Yeah. We're so different from that show. We've just copied everything that they're doing.
And have most of their former stars, who we will push at the expense of our own stars. Anyway, short to medium term success for sure. Long term health, I am way more skeptical about, based on every single other partnership WWE has had in its entire history. And now we're starting to see little effects of that.
Yeah, well, I think the story that's happened over the last 48 hours is WWE have kind of indirectly made TNA look bad. And they have come across like the bad guys in this story. So what happened is Moose was pulled from Maple Leaf Pro, which is a show, it's actually quite a bit of a super show, really, in a way, because TNA stars are there, AEW stars appear on that show as well. But Moose was pulled from that, apparently due to scheduling conflicts, but no one really quite believed there were any scheduling conflicts for him.
That's founded by Scott D'Amore, who was the guy who kind of led a resurgence of TNA. So TNA got rid of it.
They fired him. Yeah.
That was January 2024 because I think he wanted to make it into something.
And he wanted to make it good, yeah.
Good and standalone, and Anthem and the people in charge there wanted it to get closer to WWE.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Scott D'Amore left, started Maple Leaf, but a lot of people are still very loyal to him in the TNA locker room, which is why you have people like Moose and others go there. And AEW contracted talent like, Josh Alexander, Takeshita's had a match there.
Absolutely.
They are also on those shows.
Yes. So that was the first one. That kind of happened over the weekend. I think I can't quite remember exactly when Moose was pulled, but on Wednesday...
Or just for a Maple
Leaf,
Leaf show on WrestleMania weekend?
It was just like, it was an upcoming show.
It was an upcoming show.
Yeah. Then on Wednesday, it was announced that the Nick Nemeth versus MJF match, which was going to take place at Brian Myers, is it Creator Wrestle Pro or Creator Pro Wrestling? It's some, I think it's Creator,
it's a variation.
Creator Pro Wrestling, I think is what it is. It's what it's called, and that's a feud that's been built upon like Busted Open Radio, and they started on social media to announce this match. And then Nick Nemeth got pulled, and apparently, according to Fightful Select, Nick Nemeth was still pushing to do the match. He was really like petitioning with TNA for them to do the match, but TNA said no, we're blocking that match. You can still wrestle on that show, you've just got to wrestle someone from TNA on that show, and MJF's still going to appear on that show, but he's going to face someone else instead. And Brian Myers announced this via social media. That match has been pulled. Sorry about that.
So TNA have pulled quite a few people. Leon Slater, one of our really exciting British guys. He's the guy who tagged with Siobhan down in NXT and stuff.
And on the John Cena retirement show.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event. Who did they face?
Oh, here's a good question.
AJ Styles, Dragon Lee.
There it is. Dragon
of course.
Styles.
Everyone remembers those Raw Tag Team Champions. Leon Slater is also a Rev Pro guy. And he was pulled from a December show from Rev Pro, even though it was announced. Big storyline build. Shah Samuels, someone else. Meant to be a three-way. Jay Joshua. Meant to be a three-way. Leon's pulled, but that was because of scheduling conflicts.
Well, that was to do the Cena show.
Yes.
And that was a story that Rev Pro had been building pretty much all year, was the rise of Leon Slater and finally going for the British World title. And then he got pulled very last minute to go and do the Cena show, which I think we said at the time, I think if you're in Leon's shoes, that is as much as we really enjoy Rev Pro, it's Cena's retirement show.
It sucks that that's a situation that has happened, but I think everyone, I mean, I don't know, I've not heard from Rev Pro people, but everyone probably in Rev Pro must have gone, yeah, fair actually.
Yeah, fair cop.
You're going to wrestle on Saturday night's main event. You should do that. We'll find another way to pay off this feud. But that was a scheduling thing. Well, this is different. Is they're not saying, Nick Nemeth, we need you for dates all of a sudden because we're running some tapings or whatever. This is, no, we don't want you to have that specific match. You can wrestle on the show, but not against MJF.
Yeah.
But they must have already approved it, right?
Oh, we'll go on to that in a little bit. So then there was a lot of speculation that, I wonder if there's rumors that the Leon Slater versus Ricochet match at the WrestleCon Memorial show.
A dream match.
A legit dream match. WrestleCon always do these sort of super card, super dream match shows over WrestleMania weekend. It's a memorial show for a guy who was was a fan who used to work in their art departments, like with their DVDs.
Yes, sorry, let me get his name. It's Mark Hitchcock.
Mark Hitchcock, yeah.
He used to be a big person for High Spots.
Yes.
Design DVD covers and stuff.
So Leon was like, there's rumors going around that Leon's going to be pulled from this match with Ricochet. And then, sure enough, he was pulled. And WrestleCon, I'll give you WrestleCon's statement on the matter. Let me just
not very happy, is it? I would say WrestleCon, from what I understand, are very well run by the book. They're a good wrestling promotion. It's not like with good people in charge. It's not a carny one.
Despite being previously cleared by all parties and respective management, Leon Slater has been pulled from this match 1 week prior to our memorial event. We will have more to say at a later time, but we wanted to immediately be transparent to all fans. So they were like, it's not a scheduling conflict. He's just been pulled from this show because we don't want him wrestling. Well, speculation is we don't want him wrestling an AEW star. So Fightful's first report they had about this, which is around the Nick Nemeth one, where they said Nick Nemeth was still pushing for the match to take place, was that, and I'll get the quote for you here, sources familiar with the situation believe that this is heading towards an environment where TNA talent can't wrestle AEW talent anywhere. And then the Leon Slater thing came out, and it was, now you can connect some dots together here. That's a TNA guy versus an AEW guy. This one's a TNA guy versus an AEW guy, both getting pulled within like a couple of hours of each other. This is definitely, they don't want them facing AEW stars. And apparently that is now just a policy within the company, that you can't wrestle AEW stars. That's just a written rule.
That's a policy within TNA.
Yeah.
And you've got to believe that's WWE dictated, right?
So that, you'd think that, wouldn't you? And then Carlos Silva confirmed as much. Because Carlos Silva contacted Fightful and said to them, it is partner conflict.
Carlos Silva, a source of much amusement for us here at WrestleTalk. He's the president of TNA, who sort of came into power after Scott D'Amore, and there was another guy who also was forced out because he wanted to make it good.
Can't remember his name, actually.
Yeah, but he seemed to be had a good head on his shoulders. Carlos Silva, we make fun of because he is often seen in his baseball cap in the crowd at NXT shows watching his wrestlers lose. So we joke he's sitting on the cuck chair.
Yes. So there's kind of, I think, maybe three strands to this. So there's the policy. We don't want AEW stars wrestling our TNA stars. The second strand of this is another reason as to why they might not want to be doing this. And I think this is actually a bit more of a smaller one. So people within MLP, Maple Leaf Pro, and within TNA said that Carlos Silva wasn't happy last week that AEW Collision aired on Thursday. Usually it was moved from Saturday to Thursday, and that's because there was college basketball on the Saturday, so it was moved to the Thursday. And Carlos Silva wasn't happy about that because it meant that AEW aired a little bit against Impact, and it hurt their ratings. More people watched Collision and there was less people watching Impact this week. So he wasn't happy about that. But as Fightful points out, that was not an AEW call. That was a Warner Brothers Discovery decision. In fact, people in AEW would have preferred to stay on Saturday because they could have had the lead in from basketball.
Yeah. Just like they had the previous week where they did 2 hours split across Saturday and Sunday, and they did mammoth ratings. Impact as well, since the move to AMC, has been growing really nicely. They're doing. I'm impressed with the ratings they're pulling in.
Me too, because I said after that first show, which was dog crap, I was like, this is pure TNA for how bad this show is. And I was like, I really hope people give this another chance, because I think there is a lot of good within TNA. I hope people give this a chance. Thankfully, I think people have, because as you said, the ratings have actually been really steady for them, apart from that last week where it went against AEW Dynamite and they got hurt.
Yeah, Carlos Silva's statement of partner conflicts. Could that be AMC?
That's the third strand of this. Well, lovely.
I'll segue for you.
Lovely little cue up there. So the third strand of this, and Mike Johnson has this in his report, that there is, this move was done because there were concerns from TNA, AMC, and WWE that we don't want to have our TNA stars losing against AEW stars, particularly if those shows are going to be streamed online, because it might make TNA stars look bad that they've lost matches. It's fine if you do it against Randy Orton at WrestleMania, though. Like, if your TNA World Champion gets squashed by Randy Orton at WrestleMania, that's absolutely fine. It makes TNA look awesome, in fact. That's what I keep getting told.
When have TNA ever cared about their top stars losing? It doesn't have to be Randy Orton at WrestleMania. It doesn't have to be NXT. They are perfectly capable of screwing up their top baby faces by beating them over and over again when they should be making them win all by themselves.
Yeah, TNA are pretty good at this.
We saw it with Hendry. We saw it with Santana.
Yeah, they are very good at doing this themselves.
They've obviously worked themselves into a shoot that actually anyone cares about if MJF beats Nick Nemeth on an out-of-canon WrestleCon show. They should be focusing on their own booking and their history of booking and how it hasn't made a difference to them.
So this ties in, all of that kind of comes together into a point you made earlier. They had agreed to all of this. TNA had agreed that we're going to do these matches with AEW, and according to Dave Meltzer, had also agreed on the finishes. And I think if I'm reading between the lines on this, going with Mike Johnson reports, I think that means that MJF was going to beat Nick Nemeth, which I think makes sense because he is the AEW World Champion.
He can't be losing.
He can't be losing that match. Even if he's not the champion, I think that he would have beaten Nick Nemeth. And I wonder if Ricochet was going to beat Leon Slater.
Or Leon Slater could beat Ricochet.
Well, I'm only thinking that Ricochet beats Leon Slater because of we've got concerns of TNA stars losing to AEW stars. Me reading between the lines wonders if Ricochet was going to win. And I think that's because Tony Khan's very protective of his stars going to other promotions and losing. Often they will go there and they will win. And that's probably because he got burned by WWE when he was in his partnership with AAA. And, well, I mean, you could tell the story because it is a classic WWE screwing over AEW. Tony Khan being too much of a nice guy, perhaps.
Yeah, FTR were defending the AAA tag team titles. This is before AAA were acquired by WWE, but it was sort of the precursor to, there's a relationship behind the scenes here that might become something far more formal. I think it took about 18 months for that to happen fully. But this was the first one because, at that point, AEW had a working relationship with AAA and a working relationship with CMLL. So, to be honest, it was never going to last.
It was messy.
And the AEW ended up pushing them towards CMLL, which has been fantastic for both companies.
And it worked out so much better because of the New Japan partnership, because New Japan were partnered with CMLL, which meant that the Forbidden Door show was this absolute mess where you couldn't have certain guys who had been previously associated with AAA appearing on those shows.
So FTR were the AAA tag team champions. They were defending against Dragon Lee and maybe who else?
I can't remember who the partner was.
I can't remember either. Dragon Lee and partner beat them, then announced they've signed with WWE.
And they vacate the titles.
It was purely a thing done to needle AEW, needle Tony Khan, because that means a WWE contracted talent, because they'd signed before the match and it was revealed afterwards, had beaten FTR and AEW talent for some championships. WWE say wins and losses don't matter. They're lying.
Until they do.
Because they love to play these sorts of games.
Yeah, and I think that's why Tony is very much protective, so much more protective of his stars appearing on other people's shows.
There's a lot of examples of stuff Tony and AEW publicly committed to early on. We won't put time missed due to injury on contracts. We'll release people if they're not happy. We'll let our wrestlers work with anyone. We're the friendly wrestling promotion. But then, unfortunately, there are bullies out there. And you cannot be the friendly, everything's lovely company or guy when you have someone like WWE going against you. And it's those battle scars that have somewhat hardened AEW. And for a couple of years, it was very rough and it was an awkward transition. I think they're in a very good place now and they're very confident in what their red lines are.
Yeah. And I think Tony Khan went on Vince Russo's podcast.
That is mad.
He went on Vince Russo and Jonathan Coachman's podcast because they asked him to go on. And I think because he was like, well, I'm not going to look like I'm just saying no. I'm going to go on there. And I think he handled himself very well. I think that Coach and Russo asked him some good questions. I think they also showed they're out of touch with modern day wrestling, but I think they did ask some good questions along the way. But Vince Russo posted about it being like, what that interview proved to me is what I've always thought about Tony Khan, is his biggest weakness is he's too nice of a guy. He's just too nice of a dude. There's not a bad bone in his body. That's why I don't think he'll ever be a true number one in this wrestling promotion, because you can't unless you are a mean person. So I just wanted to sort of like say that as a backup to the things you were saying earlier of like, we're going to do all of these things, but there are bullies out there. Remember when Billy Gunn, WWE asked Billy Gunn to be part of the DX reunion on Raw, and AEW said, yeah, that's fine, just call him an AEW superstar. And WWE wouldn't do that. Then WWE went on the offensive being like, we tried everything. We tried everything we could to get Billy Gunn on that show, and AEW wouldn't play ball.
And that was after Tony Khan and AEW had let Billy Gunn appear at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And they made fun of AEW, called it a pissant company.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I think that all of this has made TNA look bad. And really, it's because of WWE. It's because WWE, it's specifically against AEW guys. Like, the policy is you can wrestle on other shows, but we don't want you wrestling AEW stars because we don't want to be associated with them. Because although this is, they keep telling us it's not a war, it is a war. And they don't want anyone being associated with or losing to or being perceived to have lost against. It's not even their own guys. It's TNA guys, but they're associated with WWE, so we don't want you losing against them.
Yeah, and it just makes things slightly awkward for AEW. I really do not count out WWE, Paul Levesque, all that gang, just doing tiny things that you're like, but that doesn't really matter. But when you add them together, it's just these little annoying bits chipping away at the mind and just sort of solidness of AEW and Tony Khan. But yeah, you're totally right. It's a war. And WWE, we always call it the Interglobal Wrestling Axis. WWE has... Let's do AEW first. AEW has working relationships with New Japan, with CMLL in Japan and Mexico, and Rev Pro here. And there is some awkwardness around the New Japan AEW relationship. It has been pretty much a talent raid, like you alluded to earlier.
I would also say, even I feel with Rev Pro, like I don't know this for certain, but I feel it with a little bit of Rev Pro because Mercedes wins the British women's title, but she didn't lose it to a Rev Pro star. She lost it to Alex Windsor, who's an AEW star. And then Alex Windsor has dropped the belt to Alexa Falcon. But I'm a little bit of like, surely Mercedes should have lost it to Riho, to put over one of their stars.
But then I also look at stuff like Forbidden Door and Wrestle Dynasty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those joint shows, AEW... Wrestle Dream. AEW is doing good things for New Japan. CMLL has, done a lot of stuff themselves, but AEW has fueled that with a very good talent exchange. I really do believe when you put them side by side, AEW is a much better partner to have than the other way around. Look, Will Ospreay just went to New Japan over the weekend, and now there's sort of this cross storyline going from United Empire on New Japan to United Empire on Dynamite.
Yeah, and Will Ospreay said, I'm going to be doing more matches with New Japan across this year.
Yeah, which is huge. You don't get that with, or anymore, you don't get that with like the likes of Randy Orton going back to TNA to put over someone there.
No, instead what you get is Amos going over to Noah, winning their tag titles, and then WWE bringing Amos back without him losing those tag titles because, quote, we need him, and then have never used Amos ever again.
So now we look at the WWE axis, and yes, they don't really make partnerships with companies. They gobble them up. They gobble them up whole. Right now we have AAA, which has been acquired. They bought them. We've got TNA, which has a working relationship, formal agreement thing, but it feels like they're slowly draining that company of talent. They'll throw them away as soon as they stop giving them stars.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they just buy them.
Really, I've always said I thought the TNA deal was used so WWE could push that international TV market to block AEW getting those international TV spots, which can be very lucrative. They kept TNA alive for years in the 2010s because WWE are being pulled off those to go onto Netflix.
Yeah.
That you are just a pawn in WWE's game.
Yeah.
Then you look over to Japan. Yeah, you've already mentioned Noah, what happened there. Marigold. That's just like... that
was just done to screw Stardom.
It's just done to screw over Stardom. These aren't nice relationships. And then you look back over the history of WWE. Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
They were a feeder promotion.
Yeah.
What are they now? They were shut down and then just relaunched recently as like a
developmental for a developmental.
Just a brand. Just a brand with nothing tied to what it used to be. That used to be where Drew McIntyre went to rebuild his career.
Yeah.
You look at the partner promotions they had in Britain with Progress and ICW and then I'd stand up, no, we won't stop anyone from working. That's a thriving British scene. We want that to thrive. And all of a sudden, no, what culture? You can't use this guy. You can't use that guy.
Yeah.
It's the same pattern every time.
Justin Sison was proven right, even though Pete Dunne told him, you're absolutely bang out of order here. WWE is good for the British independence scene. Then like 1 week later, they pulled talent from a What Culture show.
Yeah, and then what happens? They launch NXT UK in direct competition to their partners in the region. They slowly choke off the talent exchanges there. They try and take over the territory with NXT UK. It doesn't work because that's not what this audience wants.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets wound up as well.
Well, I think that's why they pivoted to, because that was part of global localization. We're going to launch NXT UK, NXT Mexico, NXT Japan. That was Triple H's big plan. And I think once NXT UK fantastically failed, like it was an utter failure. Like I know the pandemic and speaking out didn't help, but it was dead before that. Those two things had even happened. Once that failed, he realized, okay, what I'll do now is I'll just partner with someone in Mexico. So we won't launch NXT Mexico. We'll just have AAA. It's effectively NXT Mexico, but it's now AAA. We've got our NXT Japan. It's now just Noah and Marigold. I'll have an NXT UK. We'll just partner with a promotion here instead, and that will be our new NXT UK.
I always thought with the
What happened to NXT Europe? What happened to that?
Yeah. Oh, it's coming. The William Regal tells me on a biannual basis, oh, it's coming. It's like, 2 weeks. The AAA thing, you're like, why did they acquire them? Why didn't they just buy TNA? And then I'm like, oh, because they would keep using Alberto Del Rio. Like, you think what AAA...
I don't know if they did, man. They got rid of him pretty sharp.
Well, that's it. I'm saying if AAA wasn't owned by WWE...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you go back and you watch AAA pre-WWE purchase.
Built around him.
Yeah, that build around Alberto Del Rio doing loads of very shady, questionable things.
To the point where, when Vikingo beat him, the crowd booed.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want Vikingo, they wanted Del Rio.
Copyright infringement everywhere. As a listed company in the States, you can't have that sort of relationship.
Yeah.
So I think they needed to step in and go like, doing it this way.
Stop booking him.
Don't book Del Rio. And, but that was proven very shrewd because the guy has been arrested again. But yeah, I'm just laying out. I know AEW do take all of New Japan's talent when they reach a level of maturity. Yes, that is a thing. But when you really lay it out on paper with the historical precedent, my God, it is so clear as day that WWE are a petty organization despite being the biggest, and they cut off everything wherever they can. And it's happening now with the TNA talent in AEW matches on independent shows.
New regime, same as the old.
This is an advert for Patreon, patreon.com/WrestleTalk, which makes all of this possible. Thank you all so much. We've actually just passed our record number, which is awesome. And it's because we are reliving the greatest year ever in professional wrestling, 2001.
Certainly the busiest year in professional wrestling. It's like every week something mad is happening. But we are chronicling 2001 and the invasion storyline within WWF when they purchased WCW and effectively acquired ECW because Paul Heyman told them that he owned more of it than he actually did. The bankruptcy courts thought differently about that. And this coming weekend, on Patreon, is our review of the episode of Monday Night Raw where The Rock comes back having finished filming The Scorpion King and he's gonna challenge Booker T for the WCW Championship. And then we're also reviewing here on YouTube and over on Patreon, where you can see it unblurred and unedited, SummerSlam, our review of SummerSlam 2001.
Yeah. The Invasion, this is sort of like the SummerSlam. I feel like Invasion, the pay-per-view, is like what SummerSlam 2010 was for the Nexus. And then it's a long, steep fall because we are in the truly bad part now.
And it's the 1 month later.
It's comedy. It's no stakes.
It's no WCW stars.
It's what? It's the birth of the what chant. It's bad finishes. So yeah, and also if you sign up now, you can listen to everything that's already up, which is that's 6 episodes, probably amounting to 25 hours?
Well, I mean, the first episode's like 6 hours long. So, yeah, I mean, that's like a good chunk of it already. But yeah, head on over there. You can check out all of it. It is an insane year in professional wrestling. It's like every single week there's some new thing. One of my favorite bits that we're covering at the moment, which is you'll hear in the next couple of episodes, is the promotions that are trying to start up in the ashes of WCW and ECW folding. My new favorite one being Main Event Championship Wrestling and this mysterious John Collins and the even more mysterious Canadian backer that's giving him a lot of money to pay for limos, but apparently not much else.
Main Event Championship Wrestling, much like Main Event Jey Uso. You can say Main Event all you want. I don't know if it makes you it. Speaking of nicknames, thank you to the wonderful people who support us on Patreon. If you go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk right now, you can get a shout out on this very podcast. What's Best for Business Company Network.
Whose hat? Trash's hat. It's Johnny Trashflower Sharp.
John's better beefier brother, James Morrison.
Is that going to put the hat on for that?
That is a Trash Flowers hat.
Abominable Michael Abbott.
The Tree of Woe, Orin Stinson.
The Ring Rust Warrior, Rustage.
He's a sexy man.
Sexy man.
Not an Andrew Gross man.
Gross man. The Balding Brummy, Brett Linforth.
Go Ace, the Ace of Spades, Adrian Sandhill.
They put the Mo in Movember.
The British Bulldog, Philip Boy J. Smith Jr.
And lastly, Yo Adrian, Rocky. I saw the runtime for this episode and I knew what your first comment will be.
2.5 hours long, guys. and we've been saying it to WWE. I don't know what they had in their heads, but that was not a tip-top go-home in-ring promo segment.
I thought actually it was a pretty good promo. I actually thought it was one of the better promos that Kenny has done. Kenny's not a great promo guy, but I thought here he actually felt like, oh, you can be good at this promo, Lark.
It started 10 minutes over the allotted time. So it starts at 2 hours, 10 minutes into a 2-hour broadcast, and then it goes another 20 minutes. Mistake if you ask me.
The funny
rest
thing
of the
me,
show, though, I think is one of the better episodes of the year.
I would say so as well. I really enjoyed this. It's only one of the better ones we've had in the last few weeks. My viewing experience of this was slightly halted, though, because as I was getting into that main event segment, you started watching Dynamite on my AEW, so it logged me out.
Is that what happens?
And then I went over to Fight to watch it on there, and they only had half of the talking segment, the main event segment. So then I had to go to YouTube to watch the last half of the talking segment.
Oh, you should have messaged me. My AEW is new to us. This is our second week.
Get off it.
So that's good to know.
But the show opened with Will Ospreay brawling with the Death Riders and Jon Moxley, and then a little truck pulls up. I didn't know this, but apparently he'd been doing on social media saying, I need some backup. And he got backup in the form of his Mrs. Alex Windsor and the rest of the United Empire.
Yeah, awesome stuff after Ospreay was there over the weekend. When it started, I was like, oh, yeah, fun, chaotic brawl in the parking lot with Death Riders and Will. Nothing I haven't seen before, but fun way to start the show. When United Empire show up, it took it from like this was a good start to a show to this is a great start to the show.
Yeah, and like Callum Newman stepping out, that WrestleTalk scholarship clearly has paid off for him.
I was talking to Dave. If you're not aware, we did a WrestleTalk scholarship where I can't even remember how much money it was for, like $3,000 to $5,000, but it was just to help out a new young wrestler in Britain. Was it 2019?
2019
we did it?
Yeah.
And Callum, we chose Callum because we were so impressed with him. And it was also like things with he'd get coaching from another mentor, I think Rampage, and gear stuff. Not bad gear, like clothing, not steroids. Clothing, attire, gear.
Yeah, and cocaine.
Just the WrestleTalk scholarship. Yeah, we're giving gear to steroids to 17-years-olds.
I was about to say as well, it was WrestleTalk branded gear as well. We're getting WrestleTalk branded roids.
Gonna move into the merch. No, of course it was wrestling attire.
Yeah.
And like when I think of Callum, even though when I watch him in New Japan, if I just think of Callum, I think of 17-year-old Callum.
Yeah.
And now he comes out here, the youngest ever IWGP heavyweight champion, 23 years old. He's a bloke now.
He is a little lad.
He's not a little lad.
He's
a full bloke.
He's a full bloke, and he's got the proper IWGP world title on his shoulder.
So happy, so proud of him.
It was awesome. And they had a really fun brawl in the parking lot. It spilled out into the ring. Henare, I thought, basically was a beast mode. He was just no-selling everything, apart from when Claudio... We get to that main event, but when he hoisted him up for that suplex and walked around the ring and then suplexed him through that table, madness. But it was really good. Like Windsor was there to kind of be the foil for Marina Shafir, and they announced on this that they've got a pre-show match.
Marina and
Alex Windsor.
Windsor. That's a good direction. So they were doing this, and I thought, oh, okay. So we've got Mox and Ospreay this Sunday, and this is the start of the build to an Anarchy in the Arena match at Double or Nothing.
Or Forbidden Door.
Or Forbidden Door. But I think, Double or Nothing, that's when that stuff usually happens. That's the next show. I still think that will happen. What I did not expect for Will to go, let's do this in the main event tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Chaos in Canada match.
And what a match it was. Great bookend to the show. Should have been the bookend. Maybe don't end on MJF, Kenny.
Don Callis sadly announced that Kyle Fletcher is injured and he has vacated the TNT Championship, and there's going to be a casino gauntlet this weekend at Dynasty to crown a new champion. But he also he's not going to give the fans Takeshita versus Okada because that's not what you want. You don't really know what you want. But I am going to announce a trios match right now, which was Darby Allin, Jack Perry, and Bandito taking on the Don Callis family of Takeshita, Andrade, and Mark Davis.
I think he's the best manager in wrestling right now.
Yeah, it's great. This was a good match. Bandito was a replacement for Brody King, who sadly was at a funeral for this. Andrade left early to do this match, but it was all a ruse, and Takeshita took out Darby. Takeshita hit him with a double rolling Chaos Theory suplex.
Just, that's what you do in a standard spot, isn't it?
The baddies tossed Darby into the Timekeeper's area, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was Mark Davis and Andrade. They had Darby by his hands and feet, swung him back and forth, and then lobbed him in the air.
It was so good. The Goon and then Andrade hit the DM on Jack to get the win. So they took out Bandito and took out Darby Allin. And then the Goon squad ran down, but the Bucks came out to take them out. Okada ran down to make the save for Takeshita, a bit slow on that save. Then they came to blows, and they get separated. Then the Rascals ran down to jump onto all of them because Myron Reed is taking on Okada on Collision for the International Championship.
Great. Another sort of chaotic segment with loads of feuds furthering. And yet, as soon as Don said, you're not going to get Okada versus Takeshita, I thought, it's happening then.
Yeah,
it's happening soon. And this was the sort of start to that. We get another bit later. The actual match, Bandito and Takeshita. Give me all of that you got. Yeah, it's great. And Mark Davis, I think it might be my favourite move to watch right now.
Oh, the Hoy Cup pile driver thing that he does. It's so good.
Really fun match.
Renee interviewed Michael Sampson, the doctor, backstage about Kenny's health, and he's like,
No, his first name is Doctor. It's Dr. Sampson. It's Dr. Sampson. I've never known him as anything else.
And he said, yeah, he's great. Max is just trying to get into Kenny's head, but he's completely healthy.
I feel that was a bit of a criticism last week where people were like, oh, so Kenny's stomach could explode at any time. I don't know if I want to see stories told that way.
Oh, I see.
So I like this. I thought that was a good addressing of that.
Yeah. Willow Nightingale defended the TBS Championship against Queen Armanada in a fun little match. Shida was watching from the crowd. She returned on Collision last week.
I really like this match. I really like Armanada. Remember those Armanada Tekla? I mean, matches? Fight, that actual fight.
Yeah.
And she's been out for 5 months. She's back here. I really settled into this match.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Dr. Bomb to get the win. Enjoyed that a lot. What I really enjoyed on this show, we got 2 of these video packages, like the history of MJF and the history of Kenny Omega. I thought these were great videos.
When it started for MJF here, I thought it was going to be a bit. Like it was MJF produced and it was just talking him up and it would start saying horrible things about Kenny in Canada. But actually it was just a straight, this guy's amazing, look at his career. It really, really built them up as, the devil and the god. I think they're doing a great marketing push for this.
Yeah. I also loved as well, like starts, the first match at All In, and then he leaded him to main eventing the first AEW All In from Wembley Stadium, the largest crowd in the history of British wrestling. It's like really, really cool. Jericho came out for a promo. I mean, this was a better reaction than what he got last week, but the crowd still aren't singing that song.
Yeah, it's Edmonton they were in this week, so still in Canada. But he got a better reaction.
Yeah,
that's that baby steps.
So did he say, I'm going to sign my new deal at Dynasty? Or did he say, I'm going to sign it now? Because later on he was like, I'm going to sign it now. But I thought he said at the start of this, I'm going to sign it at Dynasty.
I'm pretty sure he said, I'm going to sign it now. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. This seems to happen at the 45-minute point of any podcast we do now.
Swig of water. Cup of water for the working man.
He said he's going to sign his contract tonight. Tony Khan said earlier in the week that Chris was a free agent.
Yes, 548 report, he signed a new deal. Yeah.
So, wow. Yeah. We were just like, he's tacked on time, but maybe it was all a ruse.
And he chose AEW over WWE. And that's kind of what the basis of his promo was. He was like, you guys were here for the start of my journey in 1990, just down the road from here. And I've taken a lot of risks over my career. And I took a risk in signing with AEW in 2019, but it was a risk that paid off. And I'm proud of the work that we've done. And I'm looking forward to giving you more. I've taken risk with some gimmicks, and I've had some stinkers across the way. I think we can all admit that. Not everything has worked. But I wanted to get into the best shape of my career because I think you, the AEW fans, deserve the best version of Chris Jericho. I don't care if I'm booked. I don't care if I'm in the main event, if I'm in the middle of the card, and for the main event. I don't care if I'm on the pay-per-view. I just want AEW to be the best it can be.
Yeah, not like a promo that resonated particularly with me, nor one do I fully believe, I guess. But it's part of this rebuilding journey. This isn't the instant Jericho's back arc, I think. He's got to do a lot of hard work to win people over. And I think acknowledging the stinkers from the last couple of years is going to help that.
Yeah, and saying, I'm not here to just be, I don't want to be on every show. I'm not here to do that. I think it is a lot of placating to the negativity towards Jericho. And actually, to your point you made last week, he was just called Jericho. Like, they called him Chris Jericho on commentary, but his name bar just said Jericho, which is, I think you said last week, I wonder if they'd just gone with a name change. Ricochet and The Demand came out, and he says, I wouldn't sign that if I were you, because, look, no one wants you here. Canada stinks. Jericho called him bald. I don't care what you think. I've got a clause in this contract that allows me to pick a match at Dynasty, even though I don't care if I'm booked on shows. I could pick either one of these two guys. I could pick the popcorn vendor. I could pick my nephew who sat over there.
That got a big pop. That felt like old Jericho.
And speaking of old Jericho, but Ricochet, and because he had the clipboard and he had a pen, and the crowd popped massively, and he was like, you just made the list.
You love to see it. I'm a simple man sometimes. I just want to hear things I've heard before.
Yeah.
And that's what he gave me. It's not a new gimmick for Jericho, which I think is where we probably want to get, unless this really is the start of a longer retirement angle, and he will be going through and paying homage to previous gimmicks.
I don't know if you remember this. That was your
That was
pitch.
my fantasy booking for his retirement.
When we did fantasy booking, like back in 2017, 2018, that was a pitch that you made that he should do. Like, he goes through all of his old gimmicks.
He did a kind of version in his Ring of Honor title run, I think.
Yeah.
Because he started wrestling as Lionheart again.
Oh, yeah. I suppose he did a little bit of that. Also, what you're saying there is that you don't really care what critics have to say about a certain thing. You've been a wrestling fan for so long. You just want to go see the wrestling thing. And I think critics are the real problem with this. I am talking about people who liked Super Mario Galaxy, the movie, and hated the fact that film critics didn't like it because they just can't enjoy films.
Fine if you can enjoy it. I imagine you're about 8 years old. I bet if you're 8 years old, you love that film. It's not for me.
It's like cameraman Wes, one of our editors, he said, I saw it at the weekend. I thought it was completely fine. It's a kid's film. I wasn't expecting anything more than that. And I was like, oh yeah, the Lego film's also a kid's film. But that has heart, soul, and character to it.
Well, as some people are calling it, it's an elevated kids' film.
Anywho, so that happening at Dynasty. Lexi interviewed Don Callis, Don Callis booked the Bucks versus Takeshita and Okada for Dynasty. And
that'll be a hell of a match.
We're going to do this for Kyle. And he said to Takeshita, look, if you win and you do well and you work together well, you can have a match with Okada for the International Championship. And I want you to be like Pippen and Jordan. You shake your hands.
And then Okada went, I'm Michael Jordan.
So I guess the Myron Reed's not winning on Collision then.
Finally.
Yes, it's been a long time coming. I thought it was going to be the end of the C2. And then we got Ciampa versus Mascara Dorada for the number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet. This match was great.
This was really good too. I liked that it had stakes. Everything on this show had stakes, really. It's so well booked at the moment. And yeah, the Ciampa is obsessed with that title. And kick out of Project Ciampa. Ciampa gets the knee to win. He'll be the first entrant. I think he's probably my favourite.
The Dogs cut a promo backstage. They were attacking Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong, and they challenged Jet Speed and Mystico for the trios titles on Collision. And then Christian and Cope came out for a promo where...
You wish it was Christian and Cage. You know, Copeland got a jobber entrance.
I did.
Come back from commercial break. He's in the ring already, and then it's
the countdown for Christian. So everyone knows that Christian's coming, the actual star of this act. I'll be honest, Edge said some things here. I haven't made note one of what he said, but I did make a note of what Christian said. He said, you know, FTR, after what you did last week, you've been very naughty. And what happens to naughty boys is I went to pay a visit to your mothers. Just so we're all clear, I banged them.
And Stokely, I'm going to bang your mother too, but that time I'll be a tag team champ. Just great stuff. And what Copeland said was, FTR are jealous of us, blah, blah, blah. And the CNC dynasty will become tag. And I was like, CNC dynasty? This is hackneyed stuff, Cope.
The thing I do like about Cope, what I think he's doing really well at the moment, is his selling of Christian.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the stuff I think is like him doing his super serious Adam Copeland. I've got zero time for, and I've had zero time since he came back to wrestling in 2020. But what I have got time for is his reaction to things that Christian's saying, because Christian has not changed his character at all. And I love that he has not changed anything about himself. And Copeland, the facials that he pulls whenever he's listening to Christian, or his reaction last week when Christian was going to hit Renee with the steel chair because she was in his way. Not Renee. I think that stuff's really great. But then FTR came out and Trent and Rocky attacked CNC from behind. The heels laid them out and they Pillmanized Cage's arm.
And Stokely, well, Excalibur called it a concerto. Stokely hit a spear.
Yeah.
Someone in our Patreon comments has a good take on that spear.
Darby cut a promo saying that people think he can't win the big one. Maybe he'll never be the face of this company, but he needs this win more than anything.
Thought it was a good promo. Yeah. That doesn't really do anything for me, but it was a good promo.
And then the main event was United Empire versus the Death Riders. Awesome match. Like super wild action throughout. Really put over Callum Newman and the relationship with him and Ospreay, which makes me wonder if that's your Forbidden Door IWGP Championship match, is Callum versus Will for the IWGP Championship, with Will putting Callum over. I thought they did a lot with Callum here, but they also really put over Hanare.
Yeah, Hanare was wicked here.
Yeah. Akira got to do stuff. He did some flips, he did some moves, but the focus was really put on Callum Newman and Hanare.
Yeah, Hanare was in the corner at one point, and the Death Riders all did their running lariats on him, and then he just started walking forward and clotheslining them back.
Yeah,
and then Claudio, but later on, Claudio picks him up in a suplex, walks around the ring, and just runs and suplexes him through a table.
Yeah.
Amazing. So and off the back of that? No, a bit later, Hanare spears Claudio off the steel steps through a table in just a revenge bit. And off the back of that, everyone took out their paired off competitors through a table. And it just leaves...
One of the tables did not break. Despite two attempts, it did get I am the tabled.
And it just left Mox and Ospreay in the ring, the people who are fighting this Sunday. Thought it was excellent booking to make you want to see the match.
Particularly as well because Mox decided to lay out Ospreay. The reason why Ospreay was taken out in the kayfabe terms is because he took 6 Death Riders in a row. So Mox was doing that again here, hitting Death Rider after Death Rider. He had the match won, but Callum was the one who made the save. And it's because of Callum that they won this match, because Ospreay was able to hit the hidden blade onto Moxley through a table and get the win. Thought it was a great match. Lovely little bit of booking within this as well. Sets up a lot of stuff down the line.
Lovely booking that I would never have done. When this match starts, I thought, okay, so Mox is pinning Will, because I expect Ospreay to win at Dynasty. Mox is pinning Will, and Will will get the win back at the pay-per-view. Or Will pin one of the other Death Riders. So for Will to just pin Moxley here, and I believe he'll pin Moxley at the pay-per-view, that's like super face booking. That's what you do with your top faces.
Yeah.
You just have them win all the time.
And then the actual main event of the show, after a great video for Kenny Omega, was Kenny coming out to do his promo. Like I said at the top, I thought this was a much better promo from Kenny Omega than we've seen since the start of this feud with MJF. I really enjoyed it. I thought people have given him a lot of nicknames over the years, but they were never nicknames I gave myself. They were nicknames that you gave to me, but I felt like I had to live up to that. And I wanted to live up to the responsibility of where the best wrestle. And I think that you fans deserve a title holder that does represent that. So I'm going to take the title from MJF and right all of the wrongs that he has made. I thought it was a very good promo.
I thought it was a fine promo. I don't think it was as good as last week's. I think it was too long. I think it came way too late in the show. So, it was already, past time for this. And I don't think it's a good enough angle. It was just MJF came down afterwards. Kenny's like, shake my hand. Kenny gets the better of him, takes a diamond ring. That's the go-home angle?
Yeah.
Very lackluster.
The story they're telling is that Kenny knows all the tricks that Max is going to play. Because Max was going to hit him with the dynamite ring, and Kenny saw it coming, so he hit him with the V-trigger, took the dynamite ring from him. It's fine. It's not going to light the world on fire. The match will light the world on fire.
Yeah. This should have happened in the middle of the show, and the final cliffhanger of this episode should have been the match and Ospreay pinning Mox.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I thought it was a fine closing segment, but not a great guy. But overall, I thought it was a good go-home show.
Oh yeah, very, very good go-home show. Just bit of a whiff on the main event promo. Before we get into our Patreon reactions to that, of course, we'll have the Dynasty predictions afterwards. Happy birthday, Jonathan the Headmaster Headman.
Yeah.
A long-running WrestleTalk viewer.
Back to 2017 days.
Yeah. It's his birthday.
Been there since the start.
We often email about Doctor Who. So happy birthday. Everyone wish the Headmaster a happy birthday in the comments. Will B, though, over on patreon.com/WrestleTalk says, Cry me a river, Omega versus Punk at Forbidden Door 26 confirmed.
It's the second time that phrase has been said on AEW television in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but this one was Kenny saying it in his promo. Tempo1337 says, looks like that WrestleTalk scholarship worked out pretty well, huh? Also, still love the real IWGP belt being back.
So much nicer, isn't it?
Shay, I can't believe it. Even Stokely has a better spear than Jay. Pretty solid go-home show. Nothing more chaotic than Chaos in Canada, lol. 4 out of 5 show.
Enjoyed it.
Julian Barragan. Now that Carl is injured, when he comes back, he should be a babyface immediately and get Takeshita out of the Don Callis family as well. Proto Sheeta tag run to start.
Not a bad shout. I like it.
Brent. Now this is an interesting take because Moxley, we've been a bit disappointed because he was having this really interesting character arc, which seems to have regressed with Will Ospreay coming back. However, Brent writes, I know people feel Moxley has reverted back during the feud against Ospreay, but I don't think that's the case. There hasn't been any point of the feud where Moxley and the Death Riders have gone after Ospreay at all. There's been Ospreay constantly attacking Moxley since coming back. I definitely feel Ospreay is acting more like a heel in this feud than Moxley has. It wouldn't surprise me if Moxley won on Sunday since Ospreay is so focused on revenge that Moxley will use that to his advantage. The rest of Dynamite was great. The Don Callis family continues to be entertaining and can't wait for Okada to throw the match on Sunday so he wouldn't fight the Alpha. Dynasty is shaping up to be a solid pay-per-view.
I love that.
What a good bit of booking that is from Brent.
Great. It's also a great take on the Moxley Ospreay thing as well.
I hadn't picked up on that.
No,
it is right.
Yeah.
Eddie Blake. This Jericho segment was much better than the last one. I believe he wants to be here this time.
Me too.
And finally, Jacob Dickens. Distinct lack of Great Khan on the show. We were so close to greatness.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people still like Great Khan for the bits. I got burned by Great Khan with all of those Rev Pro shows that I was at when New Japan knew they wanted to push him, but sent him to Rev Pro first so he could beat all of my faves.
They like him now. Should we go through the Dynasty card before we get to the ass?
Yeah,
index?
let's do that.
There are 9 matches with a pre-show match announced.
So far.
Oh my God, please. If that could just be the 8 matches.
There's collision to come yet.
So Alex Windsor versus Marina Shafir is the pre-show match.
Alex wins.
Yeah, I think so. FTR versus Cage and Christian. Oh, I did it.
You did, sorry.
Cope and Cage.
I think CNC Music Factory win this one.
Yeah, for the tag titles in Canada, and it builds to a Bucks feud. John Moxley versus Will Ospreay for the Continental Championship.
Go Mox.
I mean, that last comment sort of did create an argument for it.
Well, I had Mox down before that comment, but actually that comment has cemented it even further.
I'm going to go Ospreay.
I don't know Mox down because he just got pinned on TV.
I think Ospreay, he's your big baby face. Hangman's not around at the moment. Just make him white hot. This is his first PLE. Oh my God, I said.
Gross. Everyone comment how gross that was.
Oh, that's so gross.
That's so gross. Don't give it any context, just put the word gross.
So my mum there's a thing in this country called Matalan. You know, the shop Matalan.
And she calls it Mataland?
She calls it Mataland. And the feeling I get when she says that is how I just felt towards myself.
Yeah.
I wanted to vomit.
My aunt does the same thing when people call it the Asda. Are you going to go the Asda? Because that's what I would say. It's just like, it's just called Asda.
It is just called Asda.
I know.
Yeah.
But I would call it the Asda.
Andrade versus Darby Allin.
I think Darby's winning.
Darby gets a future world title match. I think MJF and Darby... That is a feud that AEW likes, and I think MJF and Darby like it too. I'm sort of giving away my prediction for the main event. So yeah, I think Darby wins. More tension with Andrade and the Callis family. Darby gets maybe a double or nothing.
I think it's double or nothing.
Main event.
Particularly if the main event's going to be Anarchy in the arena. You can do MJF versus Darby. The example we always give is you can do Bob Holly versus Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. That's not selling the match. The Rumble is selling the pay-per-view.
Tekla versus Jamie Hayter for the Women's World title.
Yeah, Tekla.
Yeah, Tekla. Probably annoyingly through brass knucks.
Yeah, unnecessarily.
Yeah. Tommaso Ciampa versus everyone else. It's the Casino Gauntlet match for the TNT title that was vacated by Carl Fletcher.
I think Ciampa probably does make the most sense. It's not going to be Jack Perry unless he's in a national championship match that gets announced on Collision. Yeah, I'm going to go Ciampa.
I mean, what else can you do? He's the only named participant. You want to go with all?
I'll tell you what you could do.
Goldberg?
Bobby Lashley. Because they're back. The Hurt Syndicate are back.
Forgot about that.
So maybe you could just do Bobby Lashley. Because we speculate that's why they created the national championship. And now that's on Jack Perry. So maybe you give Bobby the TNT championship.
That might be a good... I'm going to go Bobby Lashley then.
That's a good shout.
The Young Bucks versus the Don Callis family of Okada and Takeshita.
And again, based on that comment we had earlier, I'm going with the Bucks.
I'm going with the Bucks too. I also think you want the Bucks to win because that builds them for the CNC title shot.
Say, yeah.
And also Okada and Takeshita, that works better with them combusting.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho versus Ricochet.
Jericho.
Yeah. No national... he's not the national champion. I keep forgetting that because I don't care. And our final match on the card is MJF versus Kenny Omega. The God versus the Devil for the world title.
MJF retains.
Yeah. Kenny had... Let me get it up. Kenny had an interesting bit of verbiage. Let me get an erection so I can just go over this. Kenny said in his promo, he will take the title from MJF. This version of Kenny Omega can promise MJF will have his last title defense. It's very odd for a babyface to make a promise and then break that promise. Mm-hmm. So the heavy lifting there that I can see is this version of Kenny Omega.
And he's going to come back as the best bout machine or the cleaner or
maybe Max suckers Kenny into becoming a bit more of a devil. And that's how Kenny trips himself. Yeah. So that there, I just thought, that's interesting. So yeah, I think MJF. I think Kenny sowed the seeds for his defeat reasoning within his promo.
I did too.
And yeah, MJF's got so much. Like, what if Kenny's going to beat him? Why would he do the stip with Hangman a month ago? But yeah, go over to WrestleLeague.com, WrestleTalk.com/WrestleLeague, and you can have your predictions to go against us as well.
Links to that is in the video description and the podcast description.
Right.
It's time.
Everyone's favourite. Well, did you see him? Are you going to do you do the jingle?
I'll do the jingle. And I've got to apologise as well. We actually have a new one sent to us, but I haven't got it loaded into the system yet. So we'll play this jingle for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your apologies. Because this is the Ass Index.
It's the Ass Index, everybody. Although there was an interesting tweet this week from Dustin Rhodes.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see this? Not about this. Don't worry. Heaven forbid any wrestler finds out what we're doing,
I'm still worried.
because I'll be so sad.
So worried. I mean, surely someone has seen it,
And they like it.
but I'm worried.
Let's not tell Billy.
I'm really worried that one day someone is gonna, like, someone actually who's got a podcast or is very vocal on Twitter is gonna find this, and then they'll probably send people here to comment on it.
Yes, yeah. But it's it's the risk we run for great content.
And if Rikishi didn't find it, then I think that was the one I was really worried about. But that's okay.
Why did you put Rikishi
No,
under
with
the
Jay.
ass? Oh yeah. So Dustin Rhodes tweeted this week, just a fun question for y'all, nothing serious. In my 38 years of wrestling, where would you put me between 1 and 500? Do I even make the list? Don't worry, I have thick skin. If you guys don't think so, that's fine.
That's so specific.
No, I think Dustin's... He's a bit off kilter at the moment on social media.
Oh, is he?
I think he might just be bored and whatever. But I don't think that's a thing to us.
Okay.
I think he's genuinely curious. But if Dustin Rhodes is saying, maybe I'm not in the top 500 of all time, I would put Dustin Rhodes way above Billy Gunn.
I would too. 100%. I was going to say Dustin Rhodes needs to go above Billy Gunn.
So is this a futile exercise?
We're going to make it the Dustin Index instead.
Maybe that's the
The
sequel.
Dust Index.
The sequel will be the Dustin Index, yeah.
Dust Index.
The Dust Index. All right, what have we got here? There's 10 names there. Let's get those into the docket. And then also 5 from... Oh, that's a good one. Right, okay. Luke Owen.
Oliver
Is
Davis.
Charlotte Flair better or worse than Billy Gunn?
Yes, she is better. People love it when I say yes or no.
Is Goldberg better or worse than Billy Gunn? He's got to be better. Come on. He was at the top of WCW. Goldberg's WrestleMania match with Brock Lesnar is better than any match Billy Gunn's ever had.
True, but I think Billy Gunn can do a match that's longer than 5 minutes and have it be good.
It's not about who's the longest
whereas
wrestler.
Goldberg, if he has to do a match that's longer than 5 minutes, he crumbles.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not saying it's not who's the longest wrestler. It's who is the best wrestler. Is Goldberg better or worse than Billy Gunn?
He's probably better.
I'm saying he's better. This is not a coin toss. Cool. Neither is this. Is Asuka better or worse than Billy Gunn?
Asuka is better than Billy Gunn.
Is Pac better or worse than Billy Gunn?
Pac is better than Billy Gunn.
Is Mark Henry better or worse than Billy Gunn?
Ha!
On this week's episode of Raw, in the crowd.
Billy Gunn is better than Mark Henry.
Oh, the pink salmon suit promo.
Yeah, and the Hall of Pain.
The Hall of Pain run. I
completely
enjoyed
agree.
that. The highs of Mark Henry are higher than Billy Gunn doing half a catchphrase.
I'm basing my thoughts on Billy Gunn was just sort of primed and ready. Like, you put him out there and he flourished, whereas Mark Henry took like 10 years and multiple trips to various different training camps to kind of get him to a spot where he was good. It took him a long time.
I think I'm quite passionate that Mark Henry's better. If you're equally passionate, we'll flip a coin.
I'm not passionate on it to a degree. That was my gut instinct, but I'm not. I wouldn't say that I am for sure that Mark Henry is worse than Billy Gunn or Billy Gunn is better than Mark Henry. I'm on the fence about it. I'm going to defer to you, and I think that we should put Mark Henry above Billy Gunn.
He's above. He's better. Is Bobby Lashley better or worse than Billy Gunn?
Yeah, he's better.
I've got Paul Heyman here. I'm just going to remove that.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. Well, this wasn't planned. Is Dustin Rhodes better or worse than Billy Gunn?
We already decided.
We've just decided
he
that.
is better.
Is Adam Cole better or worse than Billy Gunn?
Yes, he is, baby.
You know what? I'll save the best one for last. Is Shingo Takagi better or worse than Billy Gunn?
He is better than Billy Gunn.
Is Konosuke Takeshita better or worse than Billy Gunn?
It's not a good week for Billy Gunn. He is better than Billy Gunn.
Is Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, better or worse than Billy Gunn?
Kurt Hennig is far and away better than Billy Gunn.
Is Big Van Vader better or worse than Billy Gunn? Why are you?
I mean, yeah, he is.
Why are you even questioning that with your face?
I wasn't questioning my face. I was just like, it's a thought I've never had before. But like, yeah, he is better. Vader.
Finally, in this week's class of the Ass Index, is Shane McMahon better or worse than Billy Gunn?
I mean, to quote yourself, he won that tournament.
He won the tournament. He honestly, the 2001 matches, higher highs than anything Billy's done.
Better than what Billy Gunn was doing. Shane McMahon also is responsible for AJ Styles' only good match at WrestleMania. Ergo, I think Shane has to go above Billy Gunn.
So that is the class. Again, no one was worse that week.
No, we had one maybe, but even then I don't think it was a strong maybe. The world's strongest maybe.
That is 15. It's just reminded me though, that podcast of the Coach and Bro with Tony Khan on, you know what they talked about?
No.
The photo.
Oh, with Shane, they did, yeah.
I've got the quotes here. This is Tony Khan. I had one really pleasant conversation with Shane. We had a nice conversation and talked for a few hours at the airport. I thought it was really strange that a photo came out from it. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Look, I don't know this for certain. I have had an inkling for a while that was leaked out intentionally.
I don't think it was. The way it came to us, I don't think it was an intentional leak.
That's the only thing that gives me pause, is because I knew it came to us and how it came to us.
And then we've heard other things around it. I don't think so. But the Reddit reactions are quite interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm still dying to know the full context behind the meeting and photo. You had theories of obviously staged, to Tony leaked it to see the reactions, to Shane is showing up as the leader of the Death Riders. Seems like this will be in Wrestling's Greatest Secrets book that comes out in 2052 or some shit. Like, I wonder how close it got to Shane actually appearing. And yeah, it's just loads of people theorizing around something that sometimes... It is just the most boring explanation you can think of.
And Sean said when we had him on TLC, Tony knew he took the photo because he wasn't being very subtle about taking that photo. So I think he always knew it was going to get leaked online. I don't think he realized it was us that was going to do it.
Yeah. But yes, that's this week's episode. And next week, you'll want to subscribe and definitely be a patron over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Because it's WrestleMania, baby.
It's WrestleMania, baby. Woo! That is next week here. We've got a lot of stuff going out. We've got our predictions video for WrestleMania. We've got a podcast reviewing Raw as well. The go-home episode of Raw as we're gearing up. And there'll be Dynasty review on Monday as well. So it's a busy week for the podcast.
And, just a tease for those of you who stayed this long. We will have an interesting behind-the-scenes story.
Yes.
We don't know what it is yet.
Not yet.
Well, we know what it is, but we don't know what way it's going to go.
We don't know what the conclusion of it is yet.
Either way it goes is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll leave that with you all to rampantly speculate like we would on the WrestleTalk News and WrestleTalk podcast.
Take that one to Reddit.
No, please don't. And of course, yes, stay tuned here for tomorrow because we have SummerSlam 2001 live and our deep dive review into that. Go to patreon.com/WrestleTalk and you can get our preceding episode which details The Rock's return to WWF. But for now, I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luca and DAD. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam.